Konnichiwa, hello and welcome. This is Roy at NinjaZilla90, and today I will be reviewing the Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super, whatever you want to call it, Dragon Stars Final Form Cooler figure. I will be going over articulation and detail with this figure, and I will be rating him rating it based on articulation, detail, and playability. So, with that said, let's get things started. And now here we have the super cool, super awesome, very evil, but very awesome Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super, like I said, whatever you want to call it. There's Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and then there's Dragon Ball Super. So, yeah, whatever. It's still Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball Z is what most people are going to be familiar with, so I'm just going to go with Dragon Ball Z. We have the Dragon Ball Z Dragon Stars Final Form Cooler right before us in all of his cooler glory, as you can see. He is, for those of you who are unfamiliar, he is technically Frieza's older brother. Some people say he's a canon character, some people say he's not a canon character. All we know is he's still an official Dragon Ball character, whether you say he's canon or not, so he exists. Okay? He exists. Just like Turles, who is or is not Goku's brother, or Kakarot, as his Saiyan name is, still exists, canon or not canon. So, yeah. We still acknowledge their existence here. But anyway, moving right along to detail on this figure. As you can see, his body is mostly a lighter, more of a kind of a lighter violet purple color. And his orbs, I guess that's what you call them, on the top of his head and on his bony forearm guards and on his shin guards, his bony shin guards, is a much darker purplish blue color. And we do have sort of a bone white color for all of his sort of like natural skin armor, whatever you call this, on him. His body, like exoskeleton, I guess. It's more of like a bone white color, and we do have this sort of like bone white tip at the end of his tail, looking very sharp and very deadly, looking very awesome. We do have some good sculpting in the chest, showing all his muscles in his stomach and in his chest. We see all those little ridges in the middle of his chest, in the middle of his triceps, and the middle of his upper torso there. We have his upper body armor is well sculpted. It goes above the shoulders. We can kind of have his sort of this shoulder guard detail going on with his armor. Well, bone armor, whatever, however you refer to it as. And we do have these bony spikes in the back, as well as these bony spikes on his arm guards there. And we do have these 4 spikes, very similar to a triceratops, on the top of his head. His head is very sort of alien-like. And we do have his sort of a bony face mask going across his face, and we do have some evil looking blood red eyes in there. If I can get my light on so we can see those blood red eyes in there. And the black inside his ears, he doesn't come out the package like that. The inside of his ears is white. I took a small mini Sharpie and I have added in that detail myself to make it a little bit more accurate. But however, Now moving on to articulation. Articulation, the head can turn all the way around a full 360, like so, and the opposite way. The arms on the shoulders can move a full 360. So we do have the shoulders on a sort of a swivel hinge. So we can see those hinge pins right there on the shoulders, connecting the top of the shoulders to the top of the torso right there. We do have a bicep swivel, so we can swivel those biceps a full 360 in the opposite way. Same is true with the other arm. And we do have a good double jointed elbow, so we can bend the elbow up about that much, bend it back about that much, bend it up about that much, bend it back about that much, and we can bring his arms out about that much, and then back in about that much. And we do have an ab crunch, like so, and we can swivel the body, we can swivel the torso, the waist, all the way around a full 360. And we do have a swivel hinge ball joint at the wrist, so we can swivel those fists all the way around and rock them back and forth on a hinge. And his hands are interchangeable as well, because he comes out of the box with two closed fist hands, but you can swap them out with two open hands. So if you want to kind of have him in a pose where he's throwing like an energy blast or something, you can. Now this one, of course, does not come with the amount of articulation or accessories as the SH Figuarts version of this figure, but I know personally the SH Figuarts version of this figure is way too expensive and unaffordable and inaccessible to most people, including me. So I think the Dragon Stars line is a good budget line to go with for approximately around around the $20 to $25 range. Sometimes maybe $30 depending on the figure, but that's technically a lot cheaper than what you're going to be paying for a lot of the Figuarts Dragon Ball figures. I have like a few Figuarts Dragon Ball figures. Well, actually I only have two Figuarts Dragon Ball figures, that being Trunks, the boy from the future, and the final form Frieza. And yeah, Trunks, the boy from the future is the more expensive one. So yeah. Although Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super or whatever Dragon Ball Figuarts figures, by that matter, while most of them are cheaper than SH Monsters Godzilla figures, but yeah, they could still get pretty pricey. But that's why there's the Dragon Stars line and budget-friendly lines for other franchises. But anyway, moving right along down to articulation with the lower body portion of the figure, we have the legs, which are connected to ball joints on the hips, which can move up and down. So we do have a hinge that allows the hips to shift up and down, so we can do that, and we can kick forward about that much, and we can kick back about that much. Same is true with the other leg, so we can kick forward about that much, we can kick back about that much, we can split out about that much. So we do have a good range of motion in those legs. Very good, not bad for $20 if you ask me. I've been having this figure for quite a while, but just never reviewed him yet. And we do have a good double joint in those knees, so we can bend them back about that much and bend them forward about this much. Same is true with the other knee. We can bend it like that and bend it back about that much. And we do have a good swivel in those feet, and we can rock them back and forth on a hinge. Same is true with the other foot, and we can also rock them back and forth. And as far as tail articulation, the tail is on basically a swivel hinge, so we can swivel it all the way around a full 360. We can swivel it on a hinge a little bit right there, and we can and we can swivel this tail like this all the way around and put them in various different poses if you choose to. And the tip of the tail is also articulated, so we can swivel that as well. As you can see, this figure does have a good amount of posability and playability. He does not fall apart very much at all. He stays together quite easily, so you can pose this figure, you can battle with other figures, and then not have them fall apart. Now, the legs might pop off from time to time, but it's not that common of an occurrence, so yeah. I think he's a really good figure for the $20 range, and it's hard to go wrong with these. So, with that said, I will now be wrapping it up, getting into my final verdict, giving you my final thoughts and opinions, and my final score on this figure. So, let's get to it. And now for my final verdict on the Dragon Ball Z Dragon Stars Final Form Cooler figure here. If I have to give this figure a rating, I have to give him a drumroll please, a well-deserved, knocked out of the park, 5 out of 5 stars. Why? Because number one, this figure is within the $20 range. He is very cost effective. Number two, this figure has very good detail for the price. And number three, he has very good articulation. You can pose him, and you can play with him, and you can put him in various poses, and you can battle with other figures without this figure popping apart very much. So, with that said, he passes on all 3 categories. So, that means this is a very highly recommended figure. If you are an older collector like me and you grew up watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami, and you're a fan of the movie Dragon Ball Z Cooler's Revenge, or you just think Cooler's final form, it just ironically looks super cool. This is definitely a good figure to go with. Whether you are a hardcore Dragon Ball fan, or if you're a casual fan, or you're a figure collector looking for lines at a cost-effective budget range to add to your collection from multiple different franchises, the Dragon Stars line is definitely a good option, especially this figure right here. I will definitely be looking to getting into collecting more Dragon Balls Z or Dragon Ball Super, whatever Dragon Ball you want to go with, Dragon Stars figures. But it's all practically part of the same series, so I mean, it is what it is. Although I haven't watched Daima yet, and be honest, I haven't watched a single episode of Super, so yeah, I'm kind of behind. The last Dragon Ball series I really watched from start to finish was GT, so it was I watched Dragon Ball, then Dragon Ball Z, then GT, and Dragon Ball Super and Daima. Right now I haven't watched a single episode. The only exposures I had to Dragon Ball Super was through the Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse games and stuff like that. But anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. Hope this gave you some good insight on this figure. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all your support and engagement. And as always stay safe. God bless. Take care and peace out.